So one of the interesting things about Emerson, I think, as a writer, is that he claims that he's writing to an unknown friend. And the friend is a sort of key figure for him. If we were to read the friendship essay, he talks about friends in terms of commended strangers or beautiful enemies. And friends are for him both present personages who propel him outside of himself or draw him outside of himself. And that sense of the friend who draws you outside of yourself makes you better than you would otherwise be because you feel the judgment of their gaze and their expectation. And also you want to do right by them. You want to be a source of energy and stimulation for them. This informs his writerly practice. And so he imagines himself writing to the unknown friend, someone yet to come. And his influence on Nietzsche is not subtle. And I think sometimes when Nietzsche views himself as a philosopher of the future, you see something similar there. When I think about him writing to unknown friends, I sometimes think about him as the theorist of the American scholar who would never allow the term American to congeal into a hegemonic identity, into a homogeneous sense of self, because then our friends would be known. And that would, I think, be a profoundly anti-pluralist moment, because we would know ahead of time who our interlocutors were. And so I don't view his self-understanding as a writer to be so thoroughly American that he wants to reproduce this emerging tradition, or so thoroughly American that he only ever wants to talk to Americans. I think he wants to talk to people capable of living and reading in the present. And this is a source for him of radical and yet finite transcendence. Radical because it can affect a powerful dislocation in the trajectory of a life. Finite, though, because what performs that shift is just another aspect of your life. Say your friend, say a text you open, say a walk we take, say an invitation to address you through the medium of a camera. Ways in which occasions arise, and if we enter them genuinely, we won't be able to say at the end of the day, or we won't be able to say at the beginning of the day, I know how this is going to end. Now, this sense of being able then to both belong to but not be limited by one's context, and to sort of hungrily seek a way of dislocating oneself from one's context, I don't think is about being placeless. I don't think it's about a kind of cosmopolitanism which is really a kind of cultural tourism, because it's all earned in the heavy, slow work of reading and writing and thinking and talking and walking and being together. And it requires translation, transformation. And I think there's a moment of real powerful freedom here in thinking about our own work as addressed to someone we, as of yet, do not know is our interlocutor. And that draws us out of ourselves, but also potentially maybe makes us more responsive. Because we wonder, how could this be heard by someone I don't know, but I presume is a friend? I'm not going to try to convince the skeptic. I'm not going to try to convince someone I know hates thinking, hates me, isn't really interested in this. I'll deal with those people as I have to deal with them in the conditions in which I meet them. But as a philosopher, I address the unknown friend. I presume a little bit of sympathy, but that's all I presume. And so I reach out towards them and, lastly, try to create the conditions for the reception too. That's part of the generosity of Emerson's text, is he writes in such a way that invites the unknown friend in and says, I think I have a place for you. Not, I know I have a place for you because I know your essence. But he performs a kind of invitation, and I think people really are drawn in. And that's why when people read him, they feel singled out. And they're embarrassed, but they're thrilled.